Hey, welcome to the Homepage Messaging Makeover. The big objective of this course, of this 4-part video series, is helping you to transform your website into something that right now may just be an expensive digital accessory into a lead generating machine, something that's actually going to be getting you traction, clicks, donations, partnerships through your website. The fact is, people are spending way too much money on websites that don't actually work. And when it comes down to it, it's usually not the look and the feel and the colors and the fonts and the photos. Those things certainly do play a contributing factor. And we're going to talk about some of those things in this video course. But the biggest thing, the biggest reason why people are going off of websites that they're not actually clicking the Get Started button, they're not clicking through the pages, is because the messaging is off. Your messaging is unclear. We always say if you're not clear, your customer will veer. They'll veer away from your website, veer away from your brand, and veer away from wanting to do business with you altogether. So your homepage needs to be clear. Over the years, we have helped hundreds of great organizations, businesses, nonprofits, churches to build websites that actually get results. And what we found is that there is 8 sections to a homepage that if you put these sections in the right order, and if you're really intentional with how you're actually building out your website and building out these 8 sections, they work together very nicely to actually elicit action from your website visitor. So in the Homepage Messaging Makeover course, we're going to be walking through the 8 sections that you want to make sure that you're including in the homepage of your website, what order to include them, give you some really good best practices to set you up for success. So this is video number 1 of the series. This is just an introduction video. The next video in the series, that's where the fun starts. We're going to walk through the first sections that need to show up at the very, very top of your website's homepage. And then of course, the final 2 videos, we're going to walk through 3 sections each for a total of 8 sections that need to show up on the homepage of your website. Remember, it is not worth having a website if it's just a digital accessory, especially if you're sinking hundreds or thousands of dollars into your website, countless hours, lots of stress, lots of anxiety, because you're not actually getting the leads, getting the sales, or getting the partnerships. And so if you actually do build an intentional strategy, put some time, put some effort, and some hard work into actually building an intentional website, using this framework that we're going to kind of walk you through in this course, these 8 sections that need to show up on the homepage of your website, you're going to get clicks, you're going to get results, more donations, more leads, more sales, because you're actually putting intentionality into the strategy. By the way, there will be some of you that watch this video and are able to glean a ton of information, some really good strategy notes from this 4-part video series, and you can implement these things yourself. Perfect. That's fantastic. Others of you, you might actually look at your website, start to actually realize, man, there's a lot of different things on my website that need to be adjusted, need to be corrected, and I just don't know what to do. You can sign up for our $49 website clarity session. During these website clarity sessions, it's a live one-on-one Zoom call with me. We look at your entire website, and essentially, we just give you some really practical feedback on your specific website for your specific brand. So if you want to sign up for the $49 website clarity session, at any point, you can click the button below the video to actually sign up for a Zoom call with me. Okay, so that's it for the introduction video. Again, in the next video here, we're going to talk about the first 2 sections that need to show up on the homepage of your website at the very, very top of your website. So let's go ahead and go to video number 2 to kick things off with the first 2 sections of the Homepage Messaging Makeover. All right, everybody, welcome back. In the last video of the Homepage Messaging Makeover, we talked a little bit about why most websites aren't actually getting the results that you want them to, because oftentimes great organizations, businesses, churches, nonprofits, they're sinking hundreds or thousands of dollars into a website that isn't actually built with intentionality. So it's not actually driving leads, sales, donations, or partnerships. But we know that if we actually put some intentionality, put some hard work into it, put some thought into it, and we're actually building something for our specific brand and for our specific audience, we're going to actually see results from our website. So let's go ahead and hop into number 1, the header. So that's the strip at the very, very top of your website. And then right underneath that, the above the fold section. So we have header and above the fold section. First, in the header, you want to make sure that you're including from left to right your logo. It's super important that our brand is iconic, that it's memorable, and also that people are able to easily find it. So make sure that you're actually including your logo in the header in the very top left corner of your website. Pro tip, make it clickable. If somebody's scrolling down a super long page, or if they're going, on the About Us page, FAQ page, Contact Us page, and they want to go back home, it's intuitive for somebody to actually click that logo in the top left corner. If your logo is not hyperlinked and it's not clickable, this is going to be a friction point for somebody. So again, logo in the top left corner. Directly to the right of the logo, I would include your navigation bar. Now, this is basically the links that people can click: home, About Us, FAQ, Contact. But here is the pro tip. don't use insider language. It's very common for churches to want to use insider language like reach in, reach out, reach up, or for businesses to want to say something like grow, scale, accelerate. Well, nobody knows what accelerate actually means. So you have what is known as the curse of knowledge. You know too much about your business, about your nonprofit, about your church. Your end user, your website visitor, doesn't have that arsenal of knowledge. And so you want to make sure that you're actually dumbing things down to where it's just super intuitive. Hey, about us, FAQ, contact, get a quote, what we believe, plan a visit, get a free quote, or get a free consultation. So again, you want to really dumb down that navigation bar, use language that any person would be able to easily understand so that they can navigate effectively through your website. So we have the logo in the very top left corner. To the right of that, we have your navigation bar with very, very easy to understand vernacular. And then to the right of the nav bar, we want to include an intentional button to push, your call to action button. Now, let me just say, I do these website clarity sessions with great businesses, churches, and nonprofits every single day. And you would be shocked as to how many don't have any buttons to actually click anywhere on the homepage of their website. And the number one spot for an intentional button to push is actually top right corner. So if you think about it, if you're on a nonprofit website and you actually do want to donate, you're going to oftentimes see that donate button or a give button in the top right corner. For a church, usually it's plan a visit, I'm new, what to expect. For a business, it's usually something very tangible and practical like get a free quote or get a free estimate. But here's a pro tip with a call to action button. Don't just say contact us. Don't just say get in touch. You want to say something that actually elicits some action from your website visitor. So using language like get a free quote is great because they know if they click that button, they're actually going to get a free quote. We're actually working on a website currently for a custom home builder, and we just recommended to them, hey, let's just have that button in the top right corner say, start building my dream home. It's a little bit long and a little bit lengthy, but it really shows somebody, hey, if you click this button, you're going to start building your dream home today. So again, you want to elicit action. You want to elicit a little bit of that emotion as well, even with the language that we're using in that call to action button in the top right corner. So again, left to right, we have a logo, we have a navigation bar, we have an intentional call to action button. Some other things here that you can include in the header. These are a little bit more optional, but they can be beneficial and helpful. Number one is social media links. Odds are if they're connecting with you on your website, they would love to also connect with you on Instagram, on Facebook, on LinkedIn. And so it really does help with the interconnectivity of your website and your social media to include social media icons. And the next thing here that's also optional is an announcement bar. Usually this is at the very, very top of your website, even above this header. And the announcement bar can be helpful if you're running a sale or a seasonal discount, or if your church is actually running some sort of event that they can RSVP for, or if your nonprofit has, some gala or some fundraising event or something like that. So again, this announcement bar can be a really helpful thing to include right up there at the very, very top of your website, right there above the header. Okay, so the next section that we're going to talk about in this video of the homepage messaging makeover is the above the fold section. Now, arguably, this is the most important section, not only of your homepage, but of your entire website. Because if you think about it, regardless of how people are actually coming to your website, from somebody texting them a link with their phone, QR code, finding it on social media, Facebook, LinkedIn, they're going to land on your website in this above the fold section. Above the fold basically just means before we actually have to start scrolling down your website, we land right here in this top section. So in the above the fold section, you really just have seconds to capture somebody's attention and to be super clear. So part of the reason why this course is called the Homepage Messaging Makeover is because the messaging component is such a critical part of a good website strategy, an effective website strategy. We want to be super, super clear. We don't want people guessing as to what we do, why we do it. We want to be just really clear right out of the gate. And this above the fold section is the spot to really ensure the clarity that you need to be ensuring on your website. So the first thing that we want to make sure that we're including in this above the fold section is a clear and compelling clarity statement. So it's very common to go to a website and in this above the fold section for there to either be no text at all, and then you have no idea, what is this organization? Is this a church? Is this somebody that's trying to sell me something? Or they do have some text there, but it's very vague. For instance, a nonprofit might say something like, you can make a difference today. Well, what kind of difference? How are you actually helping the community or helping the world? Or a business might say something like, we've been in business since 1975. And that's all that it says in this above the fold section. Well, we don't know if you're a plumbing company. Are you an HVAC company? Do you build custom homes? What do you actually do? And so again, we want to be really clear. So this clear and compelling clarity statement, we break it into 3 parts. We want to answer the 3 questions. Who are you? What do you do? And how are you actually making somebody's life better? So for instance, if you are a business, let's say that you are a roofing company called Highview Roofing. We don't want the above the fold section of your website saying something vague like, we are dedicated to great customer service. We have no idea what you do. So again, if we're using this framework of who are you, what do you do, and why do you do it, then Highview Roofing might say something like, Highview Roofing is a premier roofing company who builds lasting roofs so that you can get back to enjoying the home you love with the family you love. So right away, we know you're a roofing company, you build lasting roofs. And why do you do it? So that we can enjoy our home with our family. So that last one right there, especially bringing in the family language, that elicits the emotional response from a website visitor. Doesn't matter if you're a church, doesn't matter if you're a business, doesn't matter if you're a nonprofit. People need to know who you are, what you do, and more importantly, why you actually do it. Okay, the next thing to include in this above the fold section, you want to have a photo of happy, smiling people. Very common for a church to want to put a picture of their church steeple, a nonprofit to put a picture of their cityscape or the community that they're in or something like that. For a business to put a picture of their building. People don't connect with pictures of steeples, cityscapes, or buildings or products. They connect with pictures of other people. And when you have a picture of a happy, smiling person that your nonprofit is actually actively helping, or a picture of a happy, smiling person that's using your product and their life has been made better because of it, then it's going to elicit an emotional response. So again, that is a critical component here, a photo of happy, smiling people that are made better because of your brand. It's going to act as a way to show somebody what life could be like if they also purchase your service or your product or go to your church or support your nonprofit. So again, that's a big thing we want to include here is a photo of happy, smiling people. And then the next thing that we want to include in this above the fold section is another call to action button. Similar to what we talked about with the header section, we want to have another call to action button that really prompts somebody to actually take the next step and to kind of funnel them into your website to actually take the next step with your brand and with your organization. So far we talked about the header. We want to have all those different components that we talked about in the header, your logo, your nav bar, your call to action button, and then maybe even social media links in an announcement bar. And then the above the fold section right underneath that, this is the most critical section of your entire website where you want to have a compelling clarity statement that answers the questions, who are you, what do you do, why do you do it? A photo of happy, smiling people, and then again, another call to action button. By the way, I would just challenge you to look at your existing website if you have one, and look at the above the fold section only. Don't scroll, don't look at other pages. Only in the above the fold section would somebody actually have a really crystal clear idea of who you are, what you do, and why you do it. And if they wouldn't, then there's a great chance that you're actually leaving leads and sales and donations and partnerships on the table because you don't have clarity around the above the fold section. By the way, if this intrigues you and you like the idea of tightening up your website and actually building something intentional for your website that's actually going to get you results, you can get my new book, The Website Strategy Roadmap, at websitestrategyroadmap.com. Essentially, from the time the book starts to the time the book finishes, it will guide you through the process of building an intentional website, not just in messaging, which is a lot of what we're talking about in this course, but also in goal setting and planning for your website, look, feel, colors, fonts, lead generators, email campaigns, and then also user experience. When somebody comes to your website, is it clunky? Is it wonky? Is it not mobile responsive? What are the loose ends that we can actually be tightening up on our website? Again, you can get your copy of the Website Strategy Roadmap at websitestrategyroadmap.com. All right, friends, you made it through videos 1 and 2 of this 4-part video series. The next section here, we're going to be talking about 3 more sections that need to show up right underneath this above the fold section of your website. So I'll see you in the next video. All right, everybody, welcome back. You've made it to video number 3 of this 4-part video series, the Homepage Messaging Makeover. And in this video, we're going to be talking about the 3rd section that needs to show up on the homepage. By the way, this is all in chronological order. So in the last video, we talked about the header section at the very, very top of your website. And then underneath that, the above the fold section. Well, the next section that I would recommend right underneath that is this next section that we're going to talk about right now called Identify the Problem. Now, the Identify the Problem section, the big key here is addressing and calling out very cleanly and very plainly what are the friction points? What are the headache points? What are the things that your website audience is pulling their hair out about? And then you want to call it out. You want to have some really nice icons. You want to have these as bullet points listed out. You can visually display it however you want to. But essentially what we're saying here is we want to be super clear that we are empathizing with the person that's on our website. Because here's the facts. They're coming to your website for a reason. So for instance, if you have a plumbing website, the reason that somebody lands on your plumbing website, odds are they're not just bored and checking out plumbing websites for fun. They probably have a leaky faucet. They probably have a pipe that burst in their home. They're experiencing a water bill that's higher than it should be. So there's some sort of plumbing emergency or plumbing dilemma that is actually getting them to show up on your website in the first place. So if you actually can call out those problems, call out those pain points, those frustrations right here in this section of the website, then they're going to think, hey, they actually understand the problem that I'm going through. They're empathizing with me. Hey, they're reading my mail. And so this problem section, identifying the problem, you really want to be negative, because the next section that we're going to talk about is positioning yourself as a solution. And that's going to be where you can be really positive. But the more negative that you are in the problem section, the more bright and positive your brand is going to appear in the solution section. So again, the identify the problem section, you can use bullet points, icons, whatever visual representation you want to. This is your section to just show your website visitor, hey, we know exactly what you're going through. We empathize with you, and life doesn't have to be that way. You don't have to be going through all these struggles and going through all these problems. We want more than that for you. So then if we hop down to the next section that shows up right underneath the identify the problem section, it is the position yourself as a solution section, where you get to brag on your brand. Now, this is the thing. Most brands only brag on their brand. In the above the fold section, as you're scrolling through the website on every page, it's all about you, your expertise, your certifications, how great you are. But people don't need to see that. Again, they need to see, hey, they understand that I'm going through something, that I have a challenge, that I need help. And so that's why we really want to highlight the problem section first before we get to the solution section. But when we get to the solution section, this is now your chance to brag on your brand. So you can talk about how great you are. You can talk about your team. You can talk about your customer service, because you're then positioning yourself as a solution to their pain points and to their problems. But make sure you don't do this until you actually list out the pain points, the friction, and the problems first. Okay, so far in this video, we've talked about identifying the pain points and the problem, positioning yourself as a solution. And now the next section here that needs to show up on the homepage of your website is one that actually funnels somebody to take action, because people need to be led, they need to be guided. And so this is one that we call the process section. We want to basically put in bite-sized chunks in 3 easy steps what success could actually look like for your website visitor. So, somebody could read your long scrolling homepage and they might get to the bottom of it and think, okay, so what do I do first? What does the actual journey look like? What does the process look like? And we don't want them to be scratching their heads or wondering how they actually take the first step with your brand. So how do we prevent that? Well, you spell it out super clearly. So this section, the 3 easy steps section, the process section, what we're really doing here is just saying, hey, it's as easy as 1, 2, 3 for you to actually partner with our brand and get relief to your problem. So let's go back to the plumbing analogy. Let's say that you are a plumbing company. You've talked about, the leaky faucets, the high water bill, all the different, pain points and friction points. And then we've talked about your great team and 24/7 customer support and all the great things about your brand and how you're actually a solution to their problems. Well, the 3 easy steps section or the process section might say step 1, step 2, step 3. Step 1, click the button below to get a free quote from our team. Step 2, one of our team members will come out to your location and assess the situation. Step 3, we do the work, you sit back, relax, and enjoy a home free of plumbing issues or something like that. So really the big goal here is we want people to know, what do you actually do first? Just click the button. Just click the button to get started. And then we really want on the very last step, so step 3, you want to really paint a picture of what success could look like for them. So in the plumbing example, we talked about sitting back and relaxing, having a home that doesn't have any plumbing issues. But this could also be true if you're a nonprofit or a church or a service-based business. Whatever it is, what could success actually look like for them? And then make sure that you're painting that in the final step in the process section of your website. So in this video, again, we talked about identifying the problem, an entire section dedicated to headaches and friction points and pain points. It's negative, it's dark, and you're really showing that you empathize with your website visitor. Right underneath that, identifying yourself as the solution to the problem. This is your chance to brag on your brand, talk about how great you are and how you can actually be the answer to the problem that they're facing. And then the third section in this video is the 3 easy steps or the process, where we're saying, hey, it's as easy as 1, 2, 3. Here's how you get started with our brand. And here is what success could actually look like for you. These are 3 critical sections for the homepage of your website that will really help to elicit action from a website visitor so that they're not just somebody that's lurking on the website, but they actually take action with your church, with your business, or with your nonprofit. Well, we have one more video in the series that we're going to cover in just a minute. But before we do that, I know that thinking through, how do we actually write this copy? How do we write this content? I don't actually know what the headache points or the friction points that my customer are actually experiencing. How do I actually position myself as a solution and use, language that's going to actually be clear and compelling for our end user? I know that's a lot. I know that watching this video and me telling you what to do is one thing, but then you actually sitting down and really brainstorming about it, thinking through it through the lens of your specific brand, I know that can be a challenge. Again, we offer these $49 website clarity sessions where essentially we look at your homepage, we look at your website, and we just give you some really practical feedback. We're able to answer questions for you, help you really think through how would you actually word that, or is there a better way to display this, or how can we actually make it super clear for your end user? And you walk away from this website clarity session with a really good bullet point list of specific changes that you can be making yourself for free without having to hire a designer or hire anybody that you can actually be making yourself on your website to make it more clear and more compelling. Again, if you want to sign up for a $49 website clarity session, you can do so by clicking the Get Started button below. Okay, you've made it through 3 videos in this course. We have 1 more video left. And the final 3 sections that we're going to cover in this next video are some of the most potent, some of the most important sections on your entire homepage and on your entire website. So make sure you stick around for the 4th and final video. Go ahead and click on to the next video. We're going to hop in there right now. All right, welcome to the 4th and final video in this series of the Homepage Messaging Makeover. And earlier in the series, we talked about how you don't want your website to just be a digital accessory, especially if you're sinking thousands of dollars into the website and then countless hours thinking about it, stressing about it. You want it to actually be something that's giving you results. And a lot of times, the way that you're going to get those results is by capturing lead information, getting some sort of form filled out, somebody's actually calling you. And so this section is super important because we're going to be setting you up for success in 3 different ways so that you can actually capture some lead information and then do something about it. So again, you don't want your website to just be out there in the world and then for nothing to happen. You want your website to actually be a tool that is actively bringing you leads, bringing you sales, donations, and partnerships. So the next section here to include on your homepage is the testimonials section. This is your social proof. And again, the last video, the last section that we talked about in the last video was the 3 easy steps or the clear process. So right underneath that clear process section, your testimonial section. This could be a rotating carousel of testimonials. It could be cards of quotes that people have written about your brand, about your nonprofit, about your church. But regardless, we want to show social proof. People are more likely to invest in you to purchase your service. They're more likely to donate. They're more likely to buy your product or to attend your church if they can see that other people have had a great experience using your service, using your product, giving to your nonprofit, or engaging with your nonprofit. And so again, the social proof is really important. This could be videos. It could be written social proof. But again, a testimonial section is huge here because it really showcases, hey, this is a legitimate company. This is a legitimate nonprofit. This is a legitimate church. Look what all these other people are writing about this brand. And so you want to have a testimonial section, your social proof section, right here on the homepage of the website. Okay, and then right underneath this testimonial section, right underneath the social proof, you want to have a lead generator section. Okay, so here's the fact. Most people, if they're coming to your website for the first time, probably won't be ready to actually make a large commitment right off the bat. They're coming to your website, they're learning more about you, they're seeing all this stuff, and your website certainly is helping. The clarity, these different sections that you're building onto your homepage, but they might not be ready to commit quite yet. But they might be ready to make a micro commitment. So something that's very low risk, but very high perceived value for them. So for instance, if you are an accountant, maybe your accounting services per month are $1,500 per month. Well, that might be a high price tag for somebody, but they might be ready to actually download something for free or for $5 or a book for $14 or something like that, which is a micro commitment in exchange for their email address. Now, we call that a lead generator. So you now have an email address because you gave something away for free or for $15. And then now you have the email address that you can then nurture over time to eventually, after you have, several touch points with this person via email, you can eventually then convert them into a paying customer for your $1,500 a month accounting service on a monthly level. So it's true in the business world. It's true in the nonprofit world. It's true in the church world. It doesn't matter what your website exists to do. Somebody that lands there might not be ready to actually make the full commitment, but they might be ready to make a micro commitment. So that's why we recommend this lead generator section right here on your homepage. It gives somebody a really great opportunity to actually make that micro commitment in exchange for an email address. So if you are an accountant, maybe you have a PDF document. It's free. Somebody can download it in exchange for an email address. 3 accounting mistakes to avoid in the year 2026 or something like that. And it piques their interest. Hey, I don't want to make any accounting mistakes. And it's free. You put in your email address. They get some good value in exchange for an email address. And then you can nurture them over time to the point where then eventually they might actually hire you to be their accountant. However, you do need this to be something that is actually valuable. For instance, if somebody does download that, 3 accounting mistakes to avoid, and it's something that they already knew, or it's not very helpful, or it's poorly done, then it's not actually going to do you any good because then they're going to think, okay, well, these people don't actually care or they don't have expertise. I'm not actually interested in partnering with them on a deeper level. However, if it is valuable, several pages, it's very well designed, it seems very well thought out, and it's things that they wouldn't have thought about before, then they're going to be that much more likely to then want to actually take action with your brand and with your business. So the first pro tip here with lead generators, number 1, actually make it valuable. Number two, include a call to action. You don't want to create lead generators or checklists or free PDFs or any sort of lead generator if you're not actually calling somebody to actually do something and to take a next step with your brand. So make sure that at the very last page of the lead generator that you're actually pitching yourself. You're talking about, hey, we can actually help you solve your problem. Here's a link to get started. Here's maybe some testimonials or some quotes from other people that we've been able to help. So again, you don't want to just give away free value for nothing. You do want that free value to help the end user. But at the very last page, you want to be able to position yourself as a solution to their problem. And then basically a landing page talking about, your brand, what you could do, and then some next steps to actually get started with your business. The final pro tip for this lead generator section is don't just collect the email address and then not do anything about it. You can manually follow up with people if you want to. I'd recommend getting a MailChimp account or a MailerLite account or some sort of email automation software so that once you get that lead information, once you get that email address, they can go into an automated nurture sequence that you could already have built and set up ahead of time so that they get an email from you once a week for 7 weeks, 8 weeks, 12 weeks, 52 weeks. So that eventually you can nurture them to the point to where they're not just a warm lead or a hot lead, but they're actually a sale or a donation for your brand and for your organization. So in this video so far, we talked about the importance of a testimonial section. We talked about the importance of a lead generator section. And then the final section on your homepage that you need to include at the very bottom of your homepage is the footer. Now, the footer should be an intentional part of your strategy, but it is the most overlooked and most underrated part of pretty much any website. People think, oh, it's just the footer. It's no big deal. Nobody's going to look at it. That's faulty thinking because the footer is a global element, meaning it's on every single page. If somebody's on the About Us page, the FAQ page, the contact page, they're going to scroll down and they're going to see the footer. So it's on every page. So some things that we want to make sure that we're really including here in the footer. Number one, you want to include your logo. Again, your brand should be recognizable and it should be hyperlinked as well, similar to your logo and your header. So you want to make sure that you're including your logo right here at the bottom of the website in the footer. You also want to include your clarity statement. Earlier at the top of the website in the above the fold section, we talked about having a clarity statement that answers the questions, who are you, what do you do, and why do you do it? The footer is a great place to include that information. If somebody's scrolling down this long what we believe page or a long our history page or FAQ page, it's just one more reminder, here's what we do and here's why we do it. This is how your life could be made better if you actually partner with us. The next thing we want to include in the footer is some links to some pages that somebody might want easy access to. We call this a quick links section. Maybe not every page of your entire website, but the ones that somebody really would want easy access to. If you're a church, maybe it's, donate, give, plan a visit, events. If you're a business, maybe it's FAQ, get a quote, portfolio. But really, the pages that somebody's going to want really easy access to, put that in the footer. It's going to reduce a little bit of friction and just make it easier for somebody to actually do what they already want to do on your website. The next thing we want to include here is another call to action button. So yes, you have the click links, you have that nav bar here in your footer, but another opportunity to have a clickable button, an obvious button to push, get a free quote, plan a visit, donate now, get involved. Whatever it is, some button that somebody can actually click right here in the footer of the website. And then also social media links, similar to the header. People want to connect with you on your website, but also on Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn. So include those social media links here on the footer as well. And then one more pro tip for the footer, I would recommend having just one more way to kind of capture some lead information. A great way to do that in the footer is subscribe to our newsletter, with a place somebody can put in their email address and they can click submit. And then all of a sudden you have their email. They can join your newsletter. They learn more about you. And then you can also send them emails over time about upcoming sales or different events that they might want to attend or something like that. So the footer is an important section because it's on every page. You want to make sure that you're optimizing it appropriately. All right, friends, you made it through the entire homepage messaging makeover. Here's the thing. I know that everything that we talked about, these 8 sections that need to show up on the homepage of your website, I know it's a lot of content. I know it might seem overwhelming. It's not as complicated as it might seem. I would just say build some intentionality into your website. If you want to actually get the clicks, get the donations, get the leads, you need to put some intentionality and some really, really thorough thought into what you're actually saying and how you're saying it on the homepage of your website. Again, hey, if you want to sign up for a $49 website clarity session with me, it's a one-on-one live Zoom call. We actually look at your specific website and we just give you a bullet point punch list of very practical, very specific changes that we recommend to actually get more traction out of your website and get a better return on investment from your website. So again, you can sign up for the $49 website clarity session by clicking the button below these videos. Or if you're more of a DIY person, you want to kind of take a deeper dive into website strategy, again, you can purchase our book, The Website Strategy Roadmap, at websitestrategyroadmap.com. Again, if you read the book, it has a really helpful tool in the book that you can download for free that basically from the time you start the book to the time you finish the book, it will guide you through the process of building an intentional strategy. It's not just what we covered in this video. This video is very messaging focused. We walk you through a proven 4-part framework of mission, messaging, marketing, and meaningful experiences. If you don't have one of those things, your website is broken and it's not as optimized as it could be. So again, if you want to get the website strategy roadmap, really take a deep dive and build something that is intentional and on purpose for your specific brand and for your specific audience, then you can do so at websitestrategyroadmap.com. Or maybe you're not a DIY person and the idea of building your own website strategy or designing your own website makes you want to pull your hair out. And that's okay too. Ritchey Creative builds intentional websites that actually get results. Again, we don't want your website to just be an expensive digital accessory. We want it to be something that's driving sales, driving donations and partnerships. And so if you have interest in Ritchey Creative helping you to build a website that's actually going to get results, you can reach out to us at ritchey-creative.com. And we're happy to pick up the conversation, learn more about your brand and how we can help you take the next step. All right, thank you for sticking with us through this 4-part video series. That's all I got for you today. Remember, you can't use up creativity. The more you use, the more you have. Stay creative, and we'll catch you next time.